works as I follow my Father's works. Make it to the kingdom and it's gonna have a lot of perks. Our time on earth, our people feel a lot of hurt. Stuck in our sins, when we gon' realize that's not gon' work. The clock works, but the hourglass moves slow. Don't waste your time and watch your every move, bro. Go plant a seed and pray the Lord to make it grow. Get at that darkness and go and let your light show. You far from home, just follow the path of Chef Road. This life's a test, just make sure you do your best, bro. Invest in the kingdom and try to build your escrow. The eagle's watching, so go protect your nest, bro. The devil's lurking and he coming for your neck, so put on your armor and don't forget how your chest glow. The water's moving and I'm caught up in the current flow. Your life's confusing cause you caught up with these current hoes. I'm just first verse, cut the bass, send up the treble. No longer bass, we excelling to a higher level. I hate to bust your bubble, but this level trouble doubles. Remove your pride and just remember to stay humble. Don't cry for spilt milk or how the cookie crumbles. Make sure to mop the flow so you don't slip or stumble. Don't let the stress you under stop your hunger. And you can't skip the line, wait for the Lord to call your number. Be patient cause your tribulations only make you stronger. Get stuck in folly, then we only have to wait here longer. The world is yours if you prepare to go and conquer. God wrote the script and for this act he get an Oscar. I turn the corner, I really hope that I ain't lost you. Think about your stubborn mind and everything it cost you. The Lord's spirit overflowing, make sure your sins washed up. And if we stick to unity, ain't nothing that can stop us. I'm just works as I follow my Father's works. Make it to the kingdom and it's gonna have a lot of perks. Our time on earth, our people feel a lot of hurt. Stuck in our sins, when we gon' realize that's not gon' work. The clock works, but the hourglass moves slow. Don't waste your time and watch your every move, bro. Go plant a seed and pray the Lord to make it grow. Get at that darkness and go and let your light show. You far from home, just follow the path of Chef Road. This life's a test, just make sure you do your best, bro. Invest in the kingdom and try to build your escrow. The eagle's watching, so go protect your nest, bro. The devil's lurking and he coming for your neck, so put on your armor and don't forget how your chest glow. The water's moving and I'm caught up in the current flow. Your life's confusing cause you caught up with these current hoes. I'm just first verse, cut the bass, send up the treble. No longer bass, we excelling to a higher level. I hate to bust your bubble, but this level trouble doubles. Remove your pride and just remember to stay humble. Don't cry for spilt milk or how the cookie crumbles. Make sure to mop the flow so you don't slip or stumble. Don't let the stress you under stop your hunger. And you can't skip the line, wait for the Lord to call your number. Be patient cause your tribulations only make you stronger. Get stuck in folly, then we only have to wait here longer. The world is yours if you prepare to go and conquer. God wrote the script and for this act he get an Oscar. I turn the corner, I really hope that I ain't lost you. Think about your stubborn mind and everything it cost you. The Lord's spirit overflowing, make sure your sins washed up. And if we stick to unity, ain't nothing that can stop us. I'm just
Shalom, family. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Israel, I pray you're all doing well. It's Deacon Shema Ariah, and it's Iron Sharpening Iron Fridays. I got my sis Ariel behind the tech booth. How you doing, sis? All praises. She says she's doing well. All praises, all praises. I pray you brothers and sisters are doing well. Please share this discussion because we're about to discuss what the media doesn't tell you about black fathers. All right, because we're going to talk about how black fathers matter. All right, this is it's a heavy topic, so I want the brothers to jump on the Zoom, especially if you're a father. This is something that we got to talk about because you brothers that are fathers, you getting a bad rap out here in the media. If you're a black father, you get a bad rap. There's certain things that they don't tell you about us, or certain things that they say that aren't necessarily true for the majority of black fathers. You know, a couple of people will do one thing here and there, and then we all get labeled as that. So we're gonna talk about that. So brothers, please share this. Hop on the Zoom, hop on the Zoom, hop on the Zoom, because I need to have a discussion. If ain't no brothers on the Zoom, Ariel, we're gonna cut it short. And I'm saying that, as simple as that. If I don't get no brothers on the Zoom that I can have a discussion with about black fatherhood, I'm in the discussion. I'm gonna shut it down. We're gonna just close the broadcast, and I'm gonna go work on some other stuff, for the truth. But if brothers want to get on the Zoom, let's hop on and let's have this discussion. All right, I'm serious about that. I'm not playing. I'm dead serious about that. Brothers, hop on the Zoom. Hop on the Zoom. All right. For those of y'all who it's y'all first time joining, you like, whoa, what's going on here? I'm thinking Shema Ariel with True Spirit of Christ, and this is Iron Sharpening Iron Fridays. The reason why I'm so passionate about brothers getting on because the purpose of Iron Sharpening Iron is for us to build each other up, for us to be able to exhort one another. And we want to be able to have conversations with each other. I want to be able to see brothers' faces. I want to be able to dialogue about this topic of discussion. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. I see I got my brother Benaiah from Cali. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Got my brother Benaiah on. Got brother Carlos on. Y'all brothers, make sure that y'all's got y'all's cameras on. You stay muted until it's time to talk, and let's go ahead and get started. All right. More brothers need to join. More brothers need to join. Even if you don't got no kids, you obviously were somebody's child, so you can join as well. You have a father. Whether you know him or whether you don't, you have a father. So I want y'all to jump on as well because we need many different perspectives. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. You know, husbands grab your wives grab your husbands, children of you of age grab your parents, because it's time for Iron Sharpening Iron Fridays. Get your favorite food, your favorite beverage, as long as it's already cooked and you prepare for the Sabbath, and let's get ready to discuss what the media doesn't tell you about black fathers. We're gonna go to Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 17. All right, Proverbs 28 verse 17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. So the same way you would use iron to sharpen iron is the same way a man or a woman is supposed to be able to sharpen the countenance of their friend. We're supposed to be able to go into the Bible, go into the scriptures, and build each other up. Ask each other, how was your week? If I ask sis Ariel, how was your week, sis? Was it a good week, a rough week? How was it, sis? She said it was good. All praises, all praises, sis. I pray that you have an even better week next week. I pray that the things that were good in your week this week that they double down. You get even more good blessings and it's an even greater week. All right, sister's over here smiling, so I know that she's telling the truth and her week was good. All praises. My brother Benaiah, how was your week, brother? How was your week?
Hey, Deke, shalom, Deke. Happy Sabbath to you over there. Happy Sabbath also to Sister Ariel.
All praises.
My week is it's all right, just enduring just like everybody else. So yeah, it's my week has been good.
Okay, there it is. Because he was like, it's all right. Like, whoa, it's all right. But then he fixed it. He said it's good. All praises, all praises. I'm glad that you've had a good week. My brother Carlos, how was your week, sir? How was your week? How was your week?
Oh, hello. You hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Uh, Shabbat shalom to all the brothers out there and sisters.
Shalom.
Uh, my week been all right. I'm in school right now in the boondocks. Been pretty rough. I got to keep my things going over here. But it's been rough my week.
It's been rough. You
Yeah,
want
it's
to
been rough.
share a little
Studying.
bit of why it's been rough? Maybe I can help sharpen you, help build you up a little bit. Just if you want to share. If you don't want to share, I don't want to put you on the spot. But
No, no, it's not a biggie. It's just the tension I have in school because I gotta finish this course, and I finished it this week. So I gotta focus on this, and it's been rough. Things that you don't understand. Not you. I'm talking about me that I don't understand and stuff. That I gotta polish myself. It's been a tension, a lot of stress.
mm,
But we're here though. We're here. We're here to keep the Sabbath.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, when it comes to that stress, we all go through that. I've been going through that, myself this week as well. Having deadlines and things that need to be, completed, and you got a bunch of other stuff going on in your life, and it's like, man, I got to make sure this thing gets done. Sometimes we just gotta, sit back, take some deep breaths, meditate, go into the scriptures, and kind of find a sense of peace. Try to when those hard times come, especially when it's dealing with deadlines, we just got to push through it. We got to. One thing I think about is that ultimate goal. Especially when it's like I know I got to get this thing done, and it's hard for me to actually do it. Think about that relief you'll have in the end. Once it's, if it's like a project, a test, or something. Once you get to that finish line, then you'll be able to take a relief and actually breathe. So you know and then just reaching out, having somebody to talk to. Just reach out. Have a brother. Somebody that's close to you. Just be able to reach out to him and say, hey, I'm kind of having a rough week. I got these deadlines I'm trying to meet, and some things that I understand. I need some words of encouragement. Something to help me to continue to push through. So just a
Amen.
little advice on
Amen.
that.
Yeah, thank you.
All praises, all praises, all praises. So more brothers joined the Zoom. I'm happy. You see, my smile did increase a little bit more. All praises, all praises. So I'm gonna ask a question, and I know that it's kind of like a question that I know the answer to somewhat with some of these brothers. But who on the Zoom is actually a father? Who on the Zoom is actually a father? All right, Benaiah raised his hand. Okay, brother Ariel raised his hand. Okay, all praises. Oh, Carlos raised his hand as well. All praises, all praises. So we got one, two. Okay, Miguel. Did Miguel raise his hand as well? Okay, got my brother Miguel on here. So everybody that's on here is a father. All praises, all praises, all praises. All right. Thank you, brothers, for answering that question. So now we got some discussion going on, Ariel. These brothers are fathers, so I know I can have a discussion about fatherhood. All right, so let's get into it. All right. So the question is, when you think about a black father, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Now I know a lot of y'all in y'all's repentant mindset, y'all gonna have a lot of great things to say about black fathers. But this goes out to y'all who, are newly repented, you know, still in the world, still haven't really changed. When you think about a black father, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? So feel free to post it, in the chat. Sisters, feel free to post as well. When you think about a black father, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Not when you sit back and you think hard. When you think about a black father, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Do these thoughts cross your mind as far as black fathers are lazy? Is that a thought that crossed your mind? Black fathers are deadbeats? Is that a thought that maybe crossed your mind? Are they absentee fathers? Is that a thought that may have crossed your mind? That maybe they're abusive, whether physically, verbally, or emotionally. Are they abusive? Or maybe you thought that they lack affection. Are these some of the things that cross y'all's mind when you think about black fathers? Yes, no, maybe.
Absolutely, Deke.
Absolutely. Okay, so Benai said, yeah, that's what came to my mind. What about you, Miguel? Are these some of the thoughts that maybe came to your mind when you think about black fathers, typical black fathers?
Yes, definitely, of course. That's how the trends of society have us fashion.
Okay,
That's
so
the
that's how.
projection they see our brothers.
Okay, okay. Carlos, what about you? When you think about black fathers, was those some of the things that came to your mind when you think about black fathers? And let me clarify, when I say black fathers as well, I'm talking about the whole 12 tribes as well. Um, so I'm not
Oh,
leaving out Northern Kingdom. I'm talking
yeah.
about the whole.
Not. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, I ain't got too much internet here, yeah, because I'm in the boondocks, so I
Understood.
be talking, but you don't hear me.
All right, understood, understood. So yeah, those are some of the
Yeah.
thoughts that came to y'all's mind. Now, let me ask this question. If you think about black fathers again, what else would come to your mind? Did any of these thoughts come to your mind? That black fathers are strong, that black fathers are loving, that black fathers are reliable, that black fathers are vigilant. Did this thought come to your mind that black fathers are nurturing? Did it come to your mind that black fathers are protectors? That black fathers are willing to sacrifice whatever's necessary for their children? And black fathers are teachers. Are these things that also came to your mind when you think about black fathers? Did any of those things come to your mind when you think about black fathers?
Absolutely, Deke. But all of those thoughts come to my mind. But I think the complications or the problem is all the negatives kind of overshadows all of the positive things,
Mm.
you know. And that's because, and so most of the time, you think about a father, a black father, naturally you're going to think negative because the negatives overshadow us as fathers, even if they are doing something positive. I mean, it just that's what I see. So I see all of the positive things in our black men, black fathers, but I definitely see them being overshadowed by all the negative.
Hey, I like what Benaiah said. He said, yeah, these positive thoughts that came to my mind, but they get overshadowed by all the negative. Do y'all see? I want brothers to pay attention and definitely sisters to pay attention at what Benaiah said because that thing was profound. He said, yes, I thought about the positive things, but it's overshadowed by all the negative. Now, I want us to really think about this. I listed, if y'all really went back and paid attention to everything positive I listed, there was more positive than there was negative. Let me go back and make sure. When I listed the negative, that was 5 things. When I listed the positive, there were 8 positive things. But Benaiah said those 8 positive things got overshadowed by the negative things. So when it comes to our black fathers, we've got to really change that narrative because a lot of the things that I listed as far as the positive thoughts that black fathers are strong, that black fathers are loving, that they're reliable, they're vigilant, they're nurturing, they're protectors, they're willing to sacrifice, and they're teachers. These are things that black men are actually doing till this day. They're doing it right now. There's somebody that's teaching their son right now. There's a black father somewhere in the world right now that's willing to sacrifice whatever he has to for his children. There's a black father that's nurturing his children. There's somebody that's right now changing, you know, his son's diaper, right? That he's getting ready to prepare a bottle, right? He's helping out mom. He said, hey, I can feed my son his bottle. There's a father out there somewhere doing that. But you know what will happen? The media will show you certain fathers that have been deemed as lazy. This is the father that doesn't lift a hand to help out his wife, to help out his children. There's ones that they'll deem a deadbeat. This is the father that's not providing for his children, that's not at the house as much as he should be. He's an absentee father. They'll show you these things, and those things begin to outweigh all of the positive things that we do as fathers. All right. So this is what I want to talk about. All right. So we talked about it, and we had a lot of mixed responses on based on the thoughts when it came to the average black father when they think about a black father. Now I want us to go and I want us to read an article because over the years there have been a widely known myths and stereotypes about black fathers. These things have been put as a label upon us, and it's been put out there in the media for everybody to take in, so that when they look at me and you, brother Ariel, the first thing they see is the deadbeat. When they look at me and you, Miguel, the first thing they see is an absentee father, right? When they look at me and you, Benaiah, the first thing they see is somebody that's maybe abusive to their children. So I want to go through this article, and I want to talk about these things in this article, and I want us to be able to cast down. Y'all remember that show Mythbusters, where they would get on there and it was a myth that they had, and they would go through a little scenario and say, hey, either this myth is validated or this myth is busted. It's not actually true. So we're gonna talk about this when it comes to the truth about black fatherhood. So if you could scroll down on the page, Ariel. So this is the truth about black fatherhood. As you can see, there's a black man, an Israelite man, right there with his son. Stereotypes about black fathers. Hold on 1 second. Give me a second. All right. So stereotypes about black fathers. The stereotype of black fathers as absent and black children as fatherless, first introduced over 50 years ago, has, like many racial stereotypes, refused to die. So this thing about us being absentee fathers, about our children being the majority of the fatherless children in the world, this is the type of stereotype that has refused to die over the years. This stereotype has followed us for over the last 50 years. All right. So in 1965, white sociologist and assistant secretary of labor Daniel Patrick Minathan published a report called The Negro Family: The Case for National Action. This report claimed that increasing rates of out of wedlock births and single mother homes among African Americans signaled the coming destruction of black families, and these trends were to blame for many of the issues facing the black community in America. The report has been roundly criticized by many race scholars. So he made a report talking about the increase of out of wedlock births, right? Which, us being in the truth, we understand that out of wedlock birth, they're not holy. They're not godly, right? You got to make sure that you marry that woman, right? And you have your children with a mother and a father that are married. But what this guy who wrote this report is saying, because you had an increase in out of wedlock births, that these children somehow are fatherless children, which is not always the case. Just because somebody doesn't necessarily marry that woman, that doesn't mean that they're not around their child. That doesn't mean that they're not a family, right? Because there's plenty of people. Those of us that have grown up in black families or around black, people, understand that people could be in relationships for 20 years and, oh, we've been engaged for 18 years. We've been engaged for 15 years. They just didn't go to the courthouse and they just didn't have a wedding and get the actual paperwork, but they've been living in, I guess you'll call it shacking up or cohabitating, right? But that doesn't mean the father's not around. So as we continue to read, it says today around 70% of black children are born to parents who aren't married. So 70% of black children have parents that aren't married. All right. It says rates of out of wedlock births have of course increased among all races since 1965. So we got to understand something right here. Not only did it increase amongst African Americans, it increased among all races. So what does that show you? That shows you that all races are, instead of getting married first and then having children, they're beginning to have children and then marrying after or not marrying at all. So that shows you that marriage is on the decline. Not necessarily uh, uh, families, it's just showing you the actual marriages are on decline. All right. The idea that racial disparities in education, employment, income, incarceration, and more can be blamed not on structural racism, but on this absence of black fathers has been parroted by pundits and politicians alike. So they're saying that the reason why there's disparities in education, employment, income, incarceration, and other things, it's not blamed on racism. It's blamed on the fact that you don't have a daddy. So how do you brothers on the Zoom feel about that? The fact that they said the reason why we're at a disadvantage is not because of racism, it's because you don't have a father in your household. Do y'all agree with that sentiment? Do y'all, feel that it's wrong? Do you feel like maybe it has some validity to it? What you got, Benaiah?
I definitely think that it's because it definitely the father being absent in the household definitely has something to do with it because that's where you're gonna get your structure. That's where you're gonna get your upbringing um from your father. That's so. And when you take that out, you have women just raising kids that really do not know what it is to be a man, or knows how to raise that young man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Brother Ariel, what you got?
I'll say somewhat. The absentee of the father is to blame. That's somewhat. But we got to realize that it's majority of the woman's fault because she want to be the masculine image in the house instead of
Mhm.
the man. She want to make him a lesser power and make her more power. So a lot of times women tends to run the man off.
Mm,
That don't mean that the father don't want to be there. The father would love to be there with his kids because the first thing a man nature is to take care of what is his. Like we all have the drive to make sure our family have more than what we have because a father, a real father, he sacrificed a lot of things for his family. He may go without shoes. He may go without shirt. He may go without clothes. Uh, he may drive the raggedy car, give them the new car. You know what I'm saying? For his kids to ride around and make sure they're safe.
mm-hmm.
We'll take the, the, the lesser than to have the most to provide for our family. But we got to look at like they always say, a lot of fathers not in their children's lives. It's mainly because of the female. Now they had at one time they were building the black female up as the house, the breadwinner in the house.
Mm-hmm.
They gave her the best jobs. They gave her a better opportunity in educational wise. With the black male is it starts in school. They don't want us to get the education that they say we need to get, but then they'll say we what they say they got the our attitudes. We mean. We're aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
That aggressiveness came from the school system saying, okay, he's powerful, he's strong, we know this, so we're gonna take advantage of his strength. Um, and we're gonna turn his strength into a weakness by saying if he raises his voice, he's being violent.
Right,
He's
right,
being,
right.
you see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So that I don't think that's true, but the media got it like a black male or any male in his house that he's not willing to be there for his kids because they promoting uh to destroy the stronger male, take his strength away from him, and just like I'm saying, they're trying to make him weaker, make him not what
Right,
he
right.
is. You
So
see what I'm saying?
absolutely, absolutely. You said a mouthful, brother, and we gonna definitely get to those points that you went in because I'm like, he about to have the whole discussion for me. But I want y'all to really listen to what they said. Remember, when we opened the this article, it was talking about um, out of wedlock births. So out of wedlock is when you have a birth when you're not married. So what they're getting at is if a black man isn't married, he's more than likely going to abandon his children and leave them fatherless, right? Then it went into in the article that not only did it increase among African Americans, it increased among all races. So what he's saying is he says the idea that education, that disparities, meaning differences in education, employment, income, incarceration, and many other things, cannot be blamed on structural racism, but on the absence of black fathers. So what he's saying here is because we're not married to the woman that we had children with, we're automatically stereotyped as leaving our children. Therefore, they're in a bad position. But what I want to talk about, brothers, is there's situations where we're not with the mother of our child. We haven't got the paperwork, but we're still there teaching our children. These are the things we're going to talk about. This is where the stereotypes hurt us because they automatically assume that we're not there. All right. So we're going to read on. Even black public figures have shared these statistics. In 2008, President Barack Obama said during his Father's Day speech that more than half of all black children live in single parent households. So again, now Barack Obama is going to talk about more than half of black children live in a single parent household. Just because, and again, I know us being in the truth, we promote dual parent households, meaning a mother and a father. But we're talking about those that, haven't come to that realization yet and live in single parent households. That does not mean that the father is not playing his role. Just because two people can no longer coexist together does not mean that now he stops loving his children. Now he stops educating his children. Now he stops nurturing and loving his children. That's a stereotype put on us. So if you were with a woman, right, and y'all split, automatically, oh, he a deadbeat. He ain't no longer around. He done left his family, not knowing all of the other things that may have led to that, which Brother Ariel was going into. And we're going to touch on these things after we read a little further in the article. It says, even as black public figures have shared these statistics, in 2008, President Barack Obama said during his Father's Day speech that more than half of all black children live in single parent households. Children who grow up without a father are 5 times more likely to live in poverty and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in prison. They are more likely to have behavioral problems or run away from home or become teenage parents themselves. And the foundations of our community are weaker because of it. So, yes, if you don't have a father, somebody that's playing that father figure role in your life, yes, you are more susceptible to these things. All right? So that's we're not debating that. That's not the issue. The issue is that the majority of black fathers are deadbeats. The majority of black fathers are abandoning their children. That's the stereotype that we have a problem with. That's the thing we have a problem with. This stereotype ignores clear evidence that black fathers are, in fact, more involved in their children's care and their lives than fathers of other races. Did y'all hear what it said right there? This stereotype ignores clear evidence. So there's some evidence, some proven facts that black fathers are, in fact, more involved in their children's care and their lives than fathers of other races. We're more involved. Right there. It said it in the article. So this stereotype that black fathers are not there for their children, that needs to go out the window because they're involved. We just got to start shining the light on it. Sisters, hey, this is something that we're here to sharpen iron, right? So nobody's going to get offended. Nobody's going to turn off the class and, oh, here they go. They're about to do the sister bashing. No, I call it sister uplifting. So, sister, if you lay down with a man and y'all have children together, don't do things to make this stereotype seem true for your baby father. What are some of those things that sisters may do, right? Let's talk about it. They may say that their baby father is an absentee father, meaning what? He's not around. He don't never see his kid. He don't never see his child. Well, we got to get to the root of why that is. Did he just wake up one day and say, yeah, I laid down with this woman, had these kids, and I ain't really feeling it. I'm gone. Or did things happen in their relationship, right? Maybe they just went their separate ways. Maybe they decided to say, hey, what we had going before is no longer working out. He moves on, gets a new girlfriend, new wife, maybe a new family, right? Now what happens, Ariel? She done got salty. Oh, if I can't have you, nobody can. So since you want to mess with her, you ain't going to see your kids no more. So then what? What is the narrative played now? Oh, your daddy don't love you. Your daddy don't care about you. Your daddy got a new family. Brothers, can we multitask? Can we multitask? Because you have one kid over here and it doesn't work out with the mother and you go and, maybe you repented. Maybe now, after all that folly you was doing, you was a whoremonger in the world and this, child was a result of that. Now you change your ways, you get a new family. Can you not multitask and take care of the child that you had prior and the children you have now and not be considered that, oh, he got a new family, he don't care about you? Can we do that, brothers? As black men, can we at least multitask and do that? I need to hear some feedback on that.
Absolutely. Yes, we can do that, D.
Absolutely.
And we should be doing that. I mean, that's applying the scriptures. If you have kids, no matter what, you need to be taking care of your kids. So, definitely we can be doing that and we should be doing it.
Absolutely. And the scriptures tell us that. They tell us if you take a wife, right? You have a child by her, and then this is in the Old Testament, and then you find some cause to where you don't love her no more. She's not pleasing to you anymore, right? and you take on another wife and have children by that wife, that first child you have shall not be diminished. You got to still do the things of the firstborn to that child. And I'm just paraphrasing the scripture, but the scriptures talk about that. It doesn't say, oh, you had a child with this woman, you leave that child, and then now you got a new heir over here, and you just dealing with that child and forget about your other child over there. No, you still got to show love to that child. We can multitask. But the problem is, sisters get a little bit salty, and now they got to throw salt on the man's name towards the child. Your fathers don't care about you. And then they do things to make it hard for the father to actually see their child. There was a video. I don't know if y'all saw it. It was on there's a video out there. I'll just say that. You probably can find it on YouTube. Where a brother has showed up to see his, I think it was his son. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. Baby mama meets him out there, and she's like putting up a fuss. You can't see your son. He's like, I just want to see my son. I want to see my son. Nah. So she calls her new boyfriend over there. He's pulling up, and he's like, nah, you need to leave. You can't be over here. You need to leave. You need to leave. And it becomes an issue. Like, he's being attacked by his baby mama and the new boyfriend over trying to see his son. Now, if he's genuine, he doesn't have any ulterior motives behind that. She's going to go back and say, your daddy don't ever want to see you. The kid don't know daddy been outside trying to see me at 6 o'clock in the morning. Daddy been calling. Daddy been doing whatever he can to see me. Mama got an issue. Why? Because maybe he didn't come over there to see mama. Why? Maybe he got a new wife, a new girlfriend. Don't use your children as a pawn to make now their father look bad. Miguel, what you got?
Yes, I was going to mention something similar to that. I don't know if you saw the article where there was a brother that actually over supported his son, put extra there. He actually tried to spend more time with him, and the courts charged him for that. So sometimes we I mean, have a diatribe with the baby mama or whatever, but I'm trying to show the conspiracy that's against our brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with the article that came out. I saw it sometime last week.
I didn't see that article, but I did see something similar to where it was a brother where he overpaid, like he was paying child support, and he was like he like got caught up and got overpaid, and they still would not take him off child support. And I think he ended up going to jail. I think he ended up going to jail for that. Like, they do that. They do these things. So what and that was a great point, Miguel. Sisters, don't do things to make it even harder. If we already got Esau and the other nations, the court system already on our back, don't make it harder for us to see our kids. Because at the end of the day, that relationship is not about you and the man. It's about that man and his child. Because that's the next generation. That is the one that he's supposed to be grooming up. So, again, they'll make us seem like we're absentee, right? They'll get bitter and upset. They'll say that we're late, and this is another one right here. Withholding information from the father, which makes him, again, an absentee father. What kind of information do you withhold? Address. And I'm not talking about you withholding your address because he was abusive. Now, there's certain situations where brothers do things that's wrong, and they fall into these stereotypes. That's not really a stereotype. You actually are that kind of dude. We ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the ones that want to be there, but you withhold your address, meaning you ain't going to know where I live. Oh, I can't know where my child is, where their head resides, so I can come pick them up? Why? Because she wants to have that power and control. I don't want you just coming over here. Okay, well, at least can you meet me somewhere, maybe at a Starbucks, a Jack in the Box or something? Oh, but now she withholding information. You can't even contact her. You got to get in contact with her mama, and her mama playing a mediator between y'all, and you playing phone tag. You can't talk to your child whenever you want to. Your child 15 years old, and you still got to call the mother to talk to your child instead of being able to call your child directly. Why? She wants to put a divide. Sisters, you got to stop doing that. If we're going to raise up our nation, us as men have to be able to raise our children. And you wonder why I stress the word our children? Sisters, pay attention real close. Brothers, pay attention real close. The man carries the seed. That's his child. Now, y'all laid down together to create this child, but that child came from him first. The man carries the seed. You carried the egg, he planted his seed into your egg, and that created a child. That is his lineage.
That was a bar.
When he laid down with you, that was to procreate, to recreate himself, to recreate his line. That child belongs to him. But a lot of times in America, in these different countries, they've puffed the sisters up to believe that child belongs to her. Because what happens? What do they say? Possession is 90% of the law. So if you get caught with weed in your car and your name is on the title, well, that's your car. Your name is on the title. You get that's your case, right? So they say the same thing with the woman because she carried it in her body. That child belongs to her. But if we really want to go, on some biblical and some scientific stuff, those eggs die every month. Sperm, it's alive. It swims. We've all watched, these little videos and stuff like that to understand how to create. So my point is that child belongs to him. And sisters, if you're a real spiritual sister, you'll understand that. Imagine, because this is what happens. And I really want to, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but I really want to discuss this because, brothers, we got to take our power back. We got to take our power back. These are our seeds. We don't want to, if sisters, if you want men to be able to stand up and take care of their children, allow them to stand up and take care of their children. Meaning, the things that I want to order in my household on how I want my children to live, how I want them to dress, how I want them to act, what kind of young ladies and young men I want them to be, give me the power to do that. But a lot of sisters will take that power from the man and say, get out of my house. Go here, go there. I'm leaving you and I'm taking the kids with me. No, you can leave if you want to, but them kids are staying here. Those my kids. We got to take our power back. We got to take our power back. All right. So they'll say you're lazy and you can't provide, meaning what? Child support. Now, as black men in America, sometimes you go through certain things in your life where maybe you have a criminal record, maybe you didn't get the proper education, so it's hard for you to find work. It's hard for you to find, especially as the economy is rising, the price of all these things are going up. Men will do what they can to pay their child support, to provide for their children, right? But they'll say, oh, it's not enough. What you mean it's not enough? Meaning, because you're not directly putting the cash into my hands. So some fathers will say, hey, my baby needs diapers. Hey, I'll go out and get the diapers. They need wipes. They need clothes. I'll go out and do those things. But some women will say, nope, because you didn't give me the $200, $300, you're not doing enough. So until you pay me that child support, you're not going to see your son. You're not going to see your daughter. That's wrong. But there are black fathers that go over and above to pay their child support. They go over and above to make sure that they provide for their children. They do what they can, all right? So we got to, that stereotype of us being lazy. Now I want to ask the brothers on here, what kind of jobs do y'all do to provide for your children? Or what kind of jobs are you willing to do to provide for your children? Let me get some feedback on that. Who got something? Who got something? All right, let's hear from Ariel. Ariel's, seasoned brother. He's raised his children. I want to hear the kind of jobs he's done and what kind of things he's done to provide for his children.
Um, I've done a lot of jobs. I did janitor work, um, but I went and taught myself a lot of trades. Um, I told my wife years ago, matter of fact, back in 1986, I told her, I say, we ain't gonna be able to retire on jobs like our fathers and our mothers done, retire from the job.
Uh-huh.
I say, it's gonna get to a point now where we're not gonna have that retirement anymore because that was another way of weakening the black man because back when I was coming up and my fathers and my stepfather, they had jobs where they could retire on.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen the trend that wasn't gonna be able to retire on any job. So what I told my wife was I'm gonna learn as many trades as I could. Her father was a master mason. I tried to learn that trade there, but I guess he didn't feel like his sons didn't want to do it, so he didn't really want to teach me that trade because his sons didn't want to do it.
Mm.
So I said, well, I'm gonna get me an electrical trade. Um, I'm gonna know how to learn how to drive heavy equipment. Then from heavy equipment to 18 wheelers, drive that, and a lot of other little things like carpentry work. I had to learn
Mm.
how to do all that. Then maintenance work. So there's a lot of different jobs I had to go through, and then a lot of different pay scales. Because one time I was doing my electrical work, they had Esau coming in at rates of like $20, $78 an hour, and I was really making $10 an hour, and they would occasionally give me a bonus, a crisp $100 bill, maybe once a month.
Dang.
And so I had to make ends meet. So I had to sacrifice a lot just for my family to eat, for my kids to have lights, clothes, shoes. Um, it just a lot of people don't understand the abuse and the sacrifice that a black man go through just for his family to eat, have transportation, put food on the table. Sometimes that father might sacrifice his lunches at work.
Look. Okay,
Just,
okay. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. This brother right here. Hey, you in the spirit, but I get he about to have the whole discussion. You in the spirit. Everything you said. I love the fact that you said a lot of black fathers sacrifice for their children. Like a lot of the jobs that you mentioned, even when you started talking about wanting to go into masonry, I'm like, whoa. I was just having a discussion with somebody at my job, and I was like, hey, one of the things I don't want to do if I have a choice, it's masonry. It's hard work. That's hard work. But he said he's willing to do that to provide for his children. So there's men out here just like Brother Ariel, right? That's out there providing for their children, doing all these different jobs. He said he had to do all these different trades. He had to learn all these different skills. He was at a job where the white man was making way more than what he was making, and he had to just deal with it because he had to say, you know what, this $10 an hour, I'm able to feed my family with it, so I got to go ahead and push through it. I had a father that was similar to that. My father was in construction my whole life, still doing it to this day, and he would come home just dirty and just tired, but he made sure that we had food on the table. You know, the type of father, that I had, he was the type of father that, or that I have, not had, he's still around. He was the type of father that he would make sure that we as kids ate first. And as a child, I never understood it. He's like, hey, y'all just go ahead and eat. And, he would make sure, like, if we about to go through our plates, because, kids, we waste food. He's sitting there, hey, give me that plate. He get the rest. That's because maybe what he was trying to do at the time, he was struggling. But he wanted to make sure that we ate, right? There was times where, my sister needed a coat. It was wintertime. He went out and came back with the coat. He made things happen. He always would make things happen, and he does the same thing for them now. He makes sure that they have a roof over their head. He makes sure that they have cars. And one of the things that my father did that was very, crucial in my life was he was the type of father that would give us knowledge. It was more than just about the monetary, what he could provide for you monetarily. It's about the knowledge that he was instilling in us that we still have to this day. And he still does the same thing. He always trying to give me knowledge and give me game on different things. All praises to the Most High. But there's a lot of fathers like that. So we gotta again put that stereotype that every father is out there, just standing on a corner, selling crack. That or ain't doing nothing. That's in there playing NBA 2K all day. No, there's a lot of fathers that's out there getting sweaty. I'm looking at one right now. Deacon Abiel, the type of father. He does construction workers too. He goes out and does these things to provide for his family, me as well. If I think I wish I could have a camera follow me around sometimes so that my kids can see what I do and my wife can see what I do, and then you would understand why Daddy comes home and he's tired. Then you could understand why Daddy is so dirty all day. Because if it was up to me, I wouldn't be doing the job that I'm doing now. I just don't love my job, but I understand I have children, a family to feed, so I'm willing to make certain sacrifices. Sacrifice my back. My back be hurting, sacrificing the things that I go through for my kids so they can live a certain type of life. All right. So again, okay, I've been a pipe fitter in the industrial construction for 20 years. Lyra Texan, yes, absolutely. Pipe fitting work, that's what I do as well. Lyra is not easy. It's hard, back breaking work, especially if you have to do the demolition. We were doing that today. We're taking 8-inch pipes out. We had to take a tank that was like 10 feet tall, and you know, sparks is flying with the torch, and we lifted it up, 60, 70 pounds over a 10-hour period. These things aren't easy, but we do these things to provide for our families. So, sisters, take notes. Understand what your husbands go through to provide for you and the children. You know, what type of man you should be looking for if you're a single sister. A man that's going to do whatever he can to make sure that you and your children are taken care of. All right. So I want to give you an example, a personal example of what I've had to go through as far as, dealing with a baby mother that may be a little bitter or may cause issues, between me and my seed or me and my daughter. There was a situation where my oldest daughter's mother, um, she has another daughter from a relationship after ours, right? So her other daughter is wearing diamond earrings. She's got Gucci shoes, and she comes to me like, "Hey, you need to get your daughter some diamond earrings. You need to get her." And I say, "Whoa, whoa, hold up! I don't even got no diamond earrings. I don't even got no Gucci shoes. She got shoes. She got clothes. I'm gonna get her the basic necessities that she needed. If I want to do anything over and extra, that's up to me as the father to do. But don't get mad because I'm not doing that the glamorous life that you feel I should do. Don't do black fathers like that. We already got it hard enough. Let us do what we can for our children, and we will do. We want to bless our children because don't God bless us? When we're doing right, God blesses us. He gave us the kingdom. He's given us, different things in our life. So us as men, we want to naturally see our children do well. We want to naturally be able to do things for our children. But what happens when you come to a man that knows he's trying to do what he can just to provide food and the basic necessities, and you say, you ain't doing enough because she ain't got diamond earrings and Gucci shoes? You're going to crush that man's spirit with all the other things he got going on in his life. And then what happens? You turn around and say, go to your friends. Oh, he didn't get the diamond earrings. He didn't get the Gucci shoes. Oh, your baby daddy, he a deadbeat. What about all the other shoes and all the other clothes and the food? What about those things? You don't tell them about that. So then now we get stuck in that deadbeat category, and that's not the right place for us to be. Carlos says, I'm a merchant mariner, and still the biggest sacrifice is not being home with my family just to support them. That's a big one, Carlos. I'm glad you said that. Because I didn't think about the brothers that travel off to go find work, right? Merchant mariner, you got truck drivers, even people in the construction industry. Sometimes construction ain't really going good in your city, and you got to get on the road. There was times when my dad had to go, hey, I'm going over here to Florida because they had a hurricane. I got to go get work out there. But believe it, when he was out there, he still sent money. When he was out there, he still called. When he came back, he was happy to see us. He was still out there providing. So these are a lot of sacrifices that us as men have to make. And yes, we want to be there and see the kids smile. We want to be there on the first day of school. The women get to do all those things because maybe she's a stay-at-home mom, things of that nature, right? So she gets to be there for the first day of school. So how is the son going to look at the dad because he got to work 10 hours a day, but the mom get to be there at the first day of school? He going to be more inclined to mommy because she was there at that moment. I'm going to tell y'all another story. I was the type of dad, when my first daughter was born, that if she needed to go to the doctor, and when I'm saying she's like a couple months old, it's a doctor's visit. I want to be there for every first. So I'm like, hey, I'm taking off of work because I want to go to the doctor's visit. My dad was like, what are you doing? You need to go to work. I said, but it's her first doctor's visit. I got to be there. I want to see it. First day of school, I'm taking off. What you doing? You better go to work. I understood what he was trying to teach me, that, hey, you still got to be able to provide. But I understood as well as a father, these are the priceless moments that my daughter's going to think about later on in her life. Daddy was there for the first day of school. Oh, I got to be there at her first dentist appointment, her first doctor's appointment. There's fathers that actually want to do these things. So we got to begin to put these things in the light, all right? So let me see. So let's get some scriptures. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Ain't nobody going to say nothing like, Deacon, yeah, I love the conversation. Let's get the scriptures. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Because Benaiah mentioned this earlier. We do have to provide. It's commanded by God for the men to provide for their households. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. So if you don't provide for your own, especially those in your own household, you denied the faith and you're worse than an unbeliever. So us as men of God, right, us as in the process of repenting, we got to understand that we got to provide for our own in the truth. There's those they don't know the Israelites. They don't know, about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but they provide for their own. So we got to start encouraging brothers as well to say, hey, brother, you out here working hard for your children, and you're an Israelite, believe it or not, and you're doing a thing that's godly, because when you read 1 Timothy 5 and 8, it say, hey, if you don't provide for your own, you're worse than an unbeliever. So if you believe in God, we got to make sure that we provide for our children, all right? So there's different type of great black fathers, all right? And I just, like I said, I mentioned, some characteristics of my fathers. And I want to hear, you know, brothers on here, what was your experience with your father? What kind of father did you have? Did you have a father that was doing great things in your life, or some of the maybe influential things that he did in your life? I would like to hear some of that feedback as well. Let's go with you, Benaya. I see you got your hand raised.
Yeah, Dick, I had a good father. You know, my father taught me he taught me how to definitely walk as a man and be a man. But obviously, you know, that was in his Christian you know, like kind of ways. But he taught me that ownership is the way to go. So how to provide for your family. I had a really good example, you know, to look at as far as what a man actually in terms of um, taking care of wife and kids. Now, did my father make some mistakes?
Right.
Absolutely, but you know, just like any other person or father out here, especially when you're not in this truth, you know. So I had a wonderful dad.
All praises.
All praise to the Most High.
All
So
praises. And
that
go ahead.
there was one thing I wanted to go back to, and you were talking about um you know, the kids. I'm sorry to go back to this. I was trying to get it in early, but
That's all
the
right.
kids, the you said the kids spending more time with their mothers because you know you got to go to work and everything like that. I think it's important to understand that we have to we got to get some type of balance
Mm-hmm.
with that. As far as working and still spending time with our kids, definitely. Because I don't want my son, and this really happened. That's the reason why I'm bringing it up. You know, my son, you know, don't think that I want to do things with the family because he says all I want to do, I go to work, I come home, and I'm reading,
Right.
and I'm doing, and then he sees me on these videos. That's what he sees,
Uh
you
huh.
know, and I had to be mindful of that because that's not I don't want you to think I don't want my son to think that it's a bad thing or what I'm doing. So I'm trying to balance it out with spending time with the as a whole as a family, but still, you know, doing what I need to do also. And that's what I want to bring out.
Absolutely, man. I love the fact that you said balance, right? Being able to balance the work and then spending time with your children. And children do observe things. Great feedback on that. And again, this is a whole collective for brothers and sisters to see that even with that, sisters, you can help your husband out a lot as well because there are times he wants to spend with the kids. You know, there are times, me personally, when I would look back at my father and all the things he would do. My mother was at my football games and she was right there. She was like the team mother and bringing the Gatorade. My father would come every once in a while and stuff like that. But again, he was working, and as a child, they don't understand daddy got to work because you like food and you like lights and all that other stuff. They just be like, oh, you got to go to work again. Oh, I guess you don't love me, and mama loves me because she's here. But sisters, you got to begin to lighten the load on your husband as a helpmeet as well to say, hey, maybe I just, I'm gonna let my husband make it for right now. Let him go hang out with the kids. I could deal with this other issue over here instead of, putting all these burdens on your husband and now he gotta, do all this extra stuff and then he loses out on vital moments with his children and then they grow up and then they're like, well, I didn't really have all the time with my father like I wish I would have. Because black fathers, again, we want to spend time with our kids. But then we've got such a big responsibility on these other things. I don't want to spend time with my kids in the dark. I don't want to spend time with my kids and their stomach is growling. So I got to kind of balance that out. Ariel, you got something?
Yes. My father, he was a good man, but he was back in the day a Christian man. He was a church guy. But I really want to talk about the man that really was the father in my life, was my stepfather.
Okay.
Um, I kind of get a lot of my traits from him because he married my mother when I was 7 years old. This man right here used to go to work, get up at 5 o'clock every morning, never missed a day of work. Never complained. He went to work sick. He always made sure he provided for my mother and for us. He treated us just like we was his kids. Um, he's a great man. Man, this man never had an argument. We never had a disagreement. We played every single day I know about all my life, to the day he passed away. He was a great man, so he taught me a lot. He taught me what he did was like what Brother Bernard was saying with his son. But what he did, he sat me down. He said, this is how you get your clothes. This is how we eat. This is how we keep these lights on. This is how we keep these cars in the yard. This is how we keep gas. And this is where your lives come from. If you're not a real man, is a man that sacrifices himself for his family. He taught me that. He say, he say, you got to work. That's the thing that a man must do. He must be a worker. He say, if you go to work, be the best at that job. Even if, like the old cliche, you dig a ditch, be the best ditch digger you can be, or be the best operator you can be. Always do your job and be the best at what you do. Make sure you take care of your family through work. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. You might come in a regular late. You might can't go to a football game, but sit your kids down and explain to them what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Sacrifice again. And I love the fact about the story he mentioned the stepfathers. Stepfathers don't get enough, I don't want to say credit, but they're not highlighted enough. Not only that, you know, you may be taking care of your own children. Now you say, hey, I want to take on the responsibility of somebody else's children. I want to play a vital role in their life. And he had great things to say about by his stepfather. All praises to the Most High. And a lot of times that is not an easy thing because sometimes you may be in competition, with the biological father. So for a man to actually step up and play that role, those are the things that we got to highlight in our community as well, and not leave it to the wayside like, oh, you just stepdaddy, No, that's it's a good thing as well because the scriptures talk about taking care of the fatherless. Who are the ones that take care of the fatherless? The ones that step in and play a father role, stepfather. All right, all praises. I like the fact that Benaiah and Ariel mentioned about the great lessons, right? And I mentioned it as well, the knowledge and things that my father gave me. So I want to talk about a great father in the Bible because the truth is about black fathers. Did you catch what I said right there, Ariel? The truth about black fathers. The truth is about black fathers. The Most High God is a black father. King David was a black father. King Solomon was a black father. Abraham was a black father. Jacob was a black father. The truth is about black fathers. Can I get a bomb drop on that? Y'all heard it here on Iron Sharpening Iron first. The truth is about black fathers. So if I see that on a t-shirt anywhere, I know where you got it from. Manaya, fundraiser. We need to get that on a t-shirt. We need to get it. All right, so we're going to go to 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1. And we're going to talk about how King David made sure that when he was on his deathbed, when he was getting ready to die, that he still instilled lessons in his son Solomon. All right? So this is 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1. And, hey, I got to go back to that because the thing about Babylon is they talk about the black mothers, but again, the Bible highlights the black fathers. The truth is about the black fathers. Put the black fathers first, and the nation will rise. I say again, put the black fathers first, and the nation will rise. In America, they put the black mother first, and that's who our nation's demise. Put the black fathers first, and our nation will rise. That's a bar. All right, 1 Kings chapter 2,
That was a bar.
verse 1. And if I hear that in somebody's song, I know where you got it from. 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 1. Now the days of David drew nigh that he should die, and he charged he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. So King David gave his son a command. He said, I'm about to go the way everybody else does, I'm about to die. But you need to be strong and show yourself a man. So he's about to tell Solomon how to do that. Verse 3, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whether thou turnest thyself, that the Lord may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, if thy children take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, there shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel. So he's given Solomon the blueprint on how to continue in his life and how to conduct himself as a man. He's giving him the knowledge. So us as black fathers, that's what we do for our children, whether they be boy children or whether they be girl children. I still, as a father of majority of girls, I still will give them advice on how to be successful in life, how to have moral values, how to actually conduct themselves as a woman. Now, their mom teaches them how to be a woman, but me as a man, I can show them, hey, this is what a man, from a man's perspective of what he wants from a woman. Do these things, do this thing, do that thing. Now, the mom will fine tune it because she has the female perspective, but they've got to hear from a man. I will also teach them the things that men will do to beguile them. Don't fall for this. Don't fall for that. Make sure you conduct yourself in this manner. There's one thing that I do. I call it the House of Shema Success Principles, where I create a PDF and I give it to them weekly and say, hey, we're going to talk about, what is trade? What is commerce, right? Things of that nature. So they learn that. And I expect them to study it. And then we may play like a Kahoot over it and I ask them questions on it. But I got to give them some kind of knowledge, some kind of, even if they don't want to sit down and hear it and they want to be on their iPad or whatever. No, you got to take time to do this. Got to give them that knowledge so that they can further in their life. And that's what we as black fathers do. Yes, absolutely, Yakeedin. Black fathers matter. We matter in our children's life. If you take us out of our children's lives or we take ourselves out of their lives, we put them at a disadvantage. So black fathers absolutely matter. All right? So another thing that black fathers do is we nurture our children. We care about their growth and development. Again, what I was talking about the House of Samad Success Principles, that's me caring about their growth and development, right? With my 3-year-old, my 7-year-old, my 6-month-old, I nurture them. I care about their well-being. I don't want them running around looking dirty all day. Hey, make sure y'all go take a bath. Oh, she needs a bath. He need a diaper change. Change my son's diaper. Change his diaper. Things of that nature. We care about the well-being of our children. When they get sick, we want to comfort them. We want to make sure that they are all right. There's plenty of times where I've had to take my children and sit with them in the emergency room at night. It's not only the mothers that do these things. Dad's there too. We do these things. One time my daughter was here at the Sabbath and she was having pains. We had to go take her to the emergency room. She was having an issue. I sat right there with her. We was in there for a couple of hours, but I was there. I hate being at the hospital because it's cold, but black fathers do that because our children need us to do that. All right? So I'm going to ask you, brothers, and, those in the chat, what are some ways that black fathers can nurture their children? I'll let you go first, Ariel, because you got your hand raised. But again, remember the question. What are some ways that we as black fathers nurture our children?
One way that that my parents used to nurture us is every Friday we would sit down at the kitchen table and go over what we had done that week, the good, the bad, the ups and the downs. So what bothered us, what made us happy, what made us sad. Sit down and have a discussion with your kids. Pick a date, a Friday or maybe a Monday or Sunday might work for you. But just sit them down at the table, go over everything that, listen to their problems, and let them listen to your problems, let them listen to your ups and your downs. So that's one thing that you can nurture your kids and have fun doing. You might have a movie night. Y'all can sit down and discuss the movie and then start talking about things that matters in life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So family meetings, at my household we have family meetings is Wednesday, right? So the family meetings is in conjunction with family night. So that's family game night. We'll sit at the table, we'll eat, we'll talk, And sometimes teenagers they don't want to talk, Sometimes they're like, oh, my day was all right. But then sometimes we sit down and they're like, oh, so how was your day? They ask their sister how their day was, getting their feedback on certain things. And then having that enjoyment, like you said, movies and games and things of that nature. Those are the things that us as black fathers do. You know, testing, testing, testing. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? And we as black fathers can lose our voice sometimes from talking so much. Sometimes we gotta, you know, talk a lot to our children. Nah, just throwing that little joke in there. So don't worry about that. What I was saying, what was the last thing y'all heard me say? So I can get back on track, Israel. What's the last thing y'all heard me say? We just gonna run with it. This is Iron Sharpening Iron Fridays. All right, what was the last thing y'all heard me say before I got silent earlier? Anaya, what you got? Can you enlighten me, sir, so I can go back and backtrack what I said? Because I was talking for a minute and I don't know how long the audio was out.
Yeah,
Um,
it cut out like right after. I mean, it cut out.
I think you were speaking about family time and
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
right.
okay. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Benai as well. Thank you. Yes, so I was saying I was just giving examples of some things that I did with my family for family game night. We would play like Uno. They played Twister. We played a game where you put the bottle and put the money under the bottle, and whoever could take it out. Just different things that bring excitement and joy and bonding time. With father and their kids. Sometimes my kids, I'll go outside. I'll play tag, hide and go seek. I haven't done that in a while, but I mean, I played hide and go seek, and it was fun with the kids. I was hiding on top of the chicken coop. It was nighttime. They running around, and I'm looking. They couldn't find me. Do stuff like that. One of my daughters likes playing basketball, so I go out there and I play basketball with her. Now, if you let her tell it, she'll say, "Oh yeah, I beat Deacon Shema. I beat my dad." But you gotta let them win sometimes, Israel. You gotta let them win so they continue to enjoy it and they want to play. She'll run inside and say, "I beat him. I beat him." Just different things like that. Black fathers, we play with our children. I played in the snow with my daughters. Let them throw snowballs at me, and I hate the cold. Everybody that knows me personally knows Deacon Shema don't like the cold. But it snowed in Texas. We went out there and we played in the snow. All right. So, Benaya, what you got? You had your hand raised. What you got? What are some ways we as black fathers nurture our children?
So I would say some of the couple of the ways would have to be through discipline. You know, I think discipline is a big key, and it was a big key for me. You know, uh, of with my upbringing. So, and I'm still here, and I turned out good. So I definitely think um, discipline. I mean, it's not always getting what I'm saying, a whooping of the behind, but different discipline comes in different forms, in all kinds of forms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way. Another way I like to do is coaching and mentoring,
Mm.
especially when they're starting to get up in age. Um, I got a 13-year-old now, so there's he's going through a lot of stuff right now, like what I'm saying, hormones, just craziness. What I'm saying, he's getting it, that testosterone, not the hormone,
Mm.
but that testosterone is coming. You don't know what, just coaching him through the time that he's going through in his life, right at that given moment. I'm saying, he's out trying to get friends, coaching them, mentoring them, how to talk to people, how to make friends. These are some of the things that we can do um, to help. our kids or to nurture them.
Absolutely. I like the words you use, coaching and mentoring, and the discipline part. Those things are adequate in us raising our children, and that's what black fathers do. We discipline our children. We're one of the most racist, we're one of the prominent races in America, or nations, I should say. It just sounded funny the way I said it. That discipline our kids. I remember, when I was younger, a teenager, and I had, Caucasian friends. They used to cuss their parents out. They would leave their house, and they on punishment. No, when I was coming up and you was on punishment, you stayed in the house. You did certain things. You knew that was an automatic, automatic butt whooping. But that discipline that got instilled in me at a young age helped me when I got older. That I knew, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let y'all in on something. I was more afraid of my father in the sense of having that respect and fear than I was the police. There were things that I did when I was younger, and I would have been like, no, take me with you. I don't want him. I don't want to deal with him because I already knew that discipline was coming. Whether it was yelling, whether it was a spanking, but I had that fear, and I knew certain things that I was going to do. That nah, Dad hear about this, you ain't gonna lay this one down. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm up in age now. I still have a certain respect for my father in that regard. Like you don't want to discipline a person. I mean, you don't want to disappoint a person like that. And yes, I'm my own man. I ain't like, but it's certain things that you always remember and have that reverence. The same way we do with the Most High. It's like you always have that fear and reverence for the Most High because you understand the chastisement that He gave you was for your good. Miguel, what you got?
All right. One of the objectives of our oppressors is actually to destroy young boys from becoming strong men. And
Mm,
this is very evident because they know our men are the leaders. And once you captivate the leaders, you automatically have the women, which were known as the spoils of war.
mm-hmm,
So you mentioned something very critical earlier with your daughter and the diamond earrings. One of the things we must remember today at present is teach our children to make sacrifices and about necessities. And I will quote the scripture from Isaiah 3 and 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors. Now,
mm-hmm.
if you have to give in to your daughter all the time, our sons, they
Right.
become our oppressors, and women rule over us. He
Mm-hmm.
says it's an error. And I find that it is pervasive through our communities. When you all these birthday celebrations, Valentine's, it promotes whoredom
Mm-hmm.
among our people, right? So that's just my say.
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely. You know, take our power back, like I said. Make sure that, and I like the fact that you said the children need to learn how to make sacrifices as well, because in a family unit, it's all about everybody loving each other. The father makes certain sacrifices to take care of the wife and the kids. The wife makes certain sacrifices to take care of the husband and be there for her children. And the kids also should make sacrifices as well to understand everything that their mother and father go through to provide a life for them. All right. So another thing, some more things that us as black fathers, we provide our children adequate education. Black fathers, we want to make sure our children go to school. We want to make sure that they get an education, whether that's them being educated by us. When you come into the truth, absolutely, we want them to be educated by us and our own people. But we want to make sure our children have some sense of knowledge and wisdom, some sense of education in their life. So that's what we as black fathers will do. We teach them moral values. Black fathers, we teach our children right from wrong. Don't get it confused because you see a couple of different examples where okay, this black father may have taught his son to be in a gang. No, the majority of us black fathers, we teach our children right from wrong. We want them to have some sense of morals and standards, right? What do we call it? What did our parents call it? Home training, right? Don't get over here acting a fool. Don't get over here doing that. You got to have some home training. I tell my kids this all the time. When I was coming up, I never got spankings from my aunts and my uncles and my grandparents. I never had to do that. All they had to do was at least say something to me or my sisters, or we gonna tell your mom and your dad, and that was it. These kids now, it's like your auntie gotta whoop you, your mama best friend gotta whoop you, your grandma gotta whoop you. Nah, you gotta teach them home training. We gotta have home training. All right, us as black fathers, that's what we do. Um, Black fathers will also give their children knowledge and information about their past experiences. My father used to do that for me a lot. He would tell me about a lot of his past experiences He said, I want to keep you from making the mistakes that will ruin your life. He's always tell me, I understand, son, you're gonna make mistakes, but I want to keep you from making the mistakes that's gonna ruin your life. So listen to me when I tell you this. Listen to me when I tell you that. Now, me as a a youngster coming up, some things I listened to and some things I didn't. But black fathers give their children that kind of advice. We give our children life lessons. We tell them things that they don't want to hear, but that they need to hear, so that they could grow up and live a good life. All right. So let's go to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. Um, because the Bible talks about us nurturing our children. How are we supposed to nurture our children? We're supposed to bring them up in the commandments of God. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. So instilling the commandments of God in our children. That's what us as black fathers, Israelites fathers do. Now, you could say, well, some people grew up in Christianity and, maybe you had a Christian father. He probably instilled some things, because Christianity, they ain't all the way. Sometimes they say, thou shalt not steal. Don't steal, son. Don't kill. Ain't that a commandment of God? So in some form, we teach our children things that are going to be beneficial to them. Now, we understand when we come into the knowledge of the truth that it goes over and beyond than just the 10 Commandments. But us as black fathers, we're not out here just malicious and wicked and just telling our kids to run the streets and act like demon seeds. No, we don't do that because they represent us. All right. Um, Black fathers invest time and resources into their children. Us as black fathers, that's a major thing we do. We got to invest time and resources into our children, whether that's, like we said, having those family meetings, having those life discussions. Those resources can be connections that you have. Maybe you have a connection with somebody that can help elevate your son or daughter in the career path that they want to go to. Maybe it's something that they want to be able to do in life where you may not be able to mentor them in. We as black fathers, again, got to connect on those levels as well. There are certain things, Benaiah, that you may be teaching your son that, hey, maybe my daughters can learn from it. There'll be some things that I'm teaching my daughters that maybe your son can learn from. We as black fathers got to connect on those levels, iron sharpening iron, right? And use those resources and help our children, all right? So I want to get this video because I want to speed it up a little bit. I'm loving this interaction. I'm loving the dialogue. I'm loving everything everybody's posting in the chat. But I mentioned a black father from the Bible. We talked about King David. I want to talk about a black father in the world that doesn't necessarily get enough credit because of his perception and how people want to make him look. Now, he's a father of 3 sons. If anybody knows who I'm talking about, feel free to drop that in the chat, or brothers can go ahead and raise their hand. But he's a prominent figure in today's, I don't want to give the answer away, in the sports world. I'll give y'all a little hint. But again, he has 3 sons, and he's very involved with his sons, but he gets a bad rap. And we're going to show a video where he talks about his parenting style. So whoever got the answer, feel free to post it. Who got the answer? Who got the answer? Somebody on YouTube got the answer? It's a father. He got 3 sons. Okay, Benaiah, go ahead. Who we talking about? Who we talking about?
Oh, Mr. Barr, Mr. Ball.
Yes, we're talking about LeVar Ball.
LeVar Ball. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, some people say he's an acquired taste. I like the brother. I like the brother because of the fact of how involved he is with his sons. But let's go ahead and get that video, Ariel. And I just want y'all to listen to what him and Shannon Sharp are talking about. They're talking about his parenting style, and he uses the things he says about how he raises his sons is profound. And this is the mindset of a lot of black fathers, but it's not put out there in the media. So let's go ahead and play the video.
LeVar, you caught a lot of criticism. Tell us about your parenting style. Because everybody says it's not about the kids, it's about LeVar promoting LeVar. Tell us about your parenting style.
Well, that's what everybody want to say, man. But if you have something that you created, tell me you're not going to talk about it. You make a cake. You're going to be like, man, I put the best ingredients. It's the best cake.
So he said, because he's known for talking a lot about his sons, how great his sons are. He said, if you have something that you created, you're going to want to talk about it. So there's nothing wrong with us as black fathers talking about the greatness of our children. Don't let them diminish that. He's the type of father that will say how great his children are. So he said, it's something I created. I'm going to talk about it. He said it's like if you bake a cake, you're gonna want to talk about how great the cake is. Play it.
Tell me you're not going to talk about it. You make a cake. You're going to be like, man, I put the best ingredients. It's the best cake. I'll give you a scenario, man. Have you ever ate a chocolate chip cookie? The most famous one is who? Famous Amos. That boy took his stuff to parties and promoted like that. And the next thing you know, it's the best chocolate chip cookie in the world. But that's the same thing I did with my boys. I could invest in some real estate and some other things. I don't want to do that. I want to invest millions of dollars, if you add it all up, into my boys, something that's mine. I tell you what, to save money, you probably paint your own house, do your own thing. If you ain't got no money, first do it, and you're gonna do a hell of a job. People will come in there and say, "Man, can you do mine?" You'll be like, to make some money, you probably say, "Yeah," but then you'll be like, "I don't know if it's gonna be as good as mine because I put my work 24 hours to make it
this
perfect
is mine.
the way I
This
want it."
is where I live.
So that's the same thing. Don't get mad.
He said, "I want to invest $1 million in my son if you think it added up because it's mine." He said he gave another analogy. If you want to paint somebody's house, and they may pay you for it, but you'll say, "Hey, it ain't gonna be as good as the way I painted my house because hey, I invested 24 hours into this to make it perfect." He invests time. He's showing you he's the type of father that takes pride in investing time into his children, and they're all successful. And so because he was willing to do that, everybody feels like, oh, you're too involved. Your son are grown men. And when you watch different interviews where they talk to the sons, they'll say things like, aren't you your own man? Why do you have to listen to your dad? Because that's a fearful thing. Because what? They want us to fall back into those stereotypes that we're absentee, that we're not there for our children. But when you got somebody as loud as LeVar Ball is and says, hey, I invested all this into my children. They're everything that I wanted them to be. They're perfect in my eyes. I'm going to let y'all all know about it. There's nothing wrong with that. For us as black fathers to do that. We got to do that more and more for our children, show them how great they are. Now, absolutely, the Bible talks about us having humility, but the Bible also talks about how great we are as a nation. All right? Play it.
I work 24 hours to make it
this
perfect
is mine. This is where I live.
So that's the same thing. Don't get mad at me that I do that with my boys. So I expect the best out of them. Why? Because I put the best time into them.
Pause it.
But I'm never going to be like.
He said, I expect the best out of them because I put the best time into them. We as black fathers got to make sure we put the best time into our children so we can get the best result out of them. When we, again, if you look at a certain, again, but now you told me about the father that you have, and from the brother that I know you are, I can see that he put time into you because it shows. We got to therefore, when you look at a brother, right? When Brother Ariel was speaking about his stepfather and all the things that he taught him, things that I know about that man, when I look at that man, I can see that he put the best time into him and he's the best person he could be because it shows through the type of father that he had. A lot of things that I do for this truth, brothers that know me, the zeal, the way that, a lot of things that I do for the truth is because of things that my father was teaching me prior to even knowing about the truth. So when I heard the Bible lined up with it, oh, that's the kind of dad I had. He was kind of like the Most High. Things he was telling me. So it lines up with my character. When you see LeVar Ball's sons, they're still young, but they all have his mentality. One way or another, they have his actual mentality because he invested that into his sons. They all became successful. All right, let's finish the video.
But I'm never going to be like, I took an element out of my boys that creates. I'm going to tell you what, you do not go to Beverly Hills or Thousand Oaks or Chino Hills to get no killers. All the killers come from the ghetto. They have to come from nothing. Right. But I never was like, hey, son, I need you guys. And this is all the pressure they put on a lot of the youngsters. Hurry up and get us out of this situation that we're in. But I don't need my boys, hey, make the league so I can get out of Chino Hills. I mean, all these hills and all these swimming pools, you got to get us away from this. So the money is not the thing. Everybody that's in the draft needs some money. They got to get it from these agents and all this stuff to get started because they never had it before.
Right.
So how do you make this guy be like, oh, man, a lot of them is playing for the money. Mine, I told them they born to go pro, and the only thing on their mind is being better than Jordan. It ain't about the money.
You said you touched on something just a minute ago.
Yes.
Because they said, well, LeVar come from upper middle class and his kids are spoiled because they had swimming pools, they're getting Ferrari.
So in the interest of time, so what he was going on, the reason why he kept saying it's not about the money. It's not about the money because they'll say, "Oh, you're only doing this because you wanted to get money off of your sons." But when you learn about LeVar Ball, he actually was in the NFL, played for the Carolina Panthers. So he in this interview, when you watch the whole thing, he spoke on that. He said, "Hey, I could have just worked a job and whatever, and I would have never had time to actually train and be there with my sons since they was young." He said, "But I went and I played in the NFL, made some money. I was able to work from home. He still worked, but he was able to work from home and he was able to have that time that we talked about earlier, be able to have time with his sons. He knew. He said, I planned this all from the beginning. He says, even the wife I chose now, us that in the truth, we understand, okay, he has a heathen wife, but the fact that she was tall, he said, hey, I need basketball players. She's a basketball player. I like basketball. I got a tall woman. We're going to have 3 sons. He said it was all in my mind. He trained them all up and they all do it, and he never forced them. He groomed them up, but he always encourages them. Black fathers, we encourage our children. The more we encourage our children, the more successful they will be. So we got to make sure that we all stay in the habit of encouraging them. And if we're not in that habit, we got to make sure that we get in the habit. Encourage them from a young age. When they're getting ready to take their first steps, encourage them, encourage them, encourage them. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to fall. They're going to do things. Lift them up, mentor them, coach them, encourage them, keep them going. All right? That's what we as black fathers do. We all want what's best for our children. We got to put that positive encouragement in their minds. That's what the Most High does to us. Again, remember what I said. The truth is about black fathers. The Most High is a black father. Our Heavenly Father, He puts encouragement in us. How? Through the scriptures, through the Bible. He tells us how great we are as a nation. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. I'm bringing it full circle now to show you that this stigma that they put out there, that black fathers are absentee, they're not. Because when we're actually playing our role, we're there for our children. We're in the image of God. God's there for us. God encourages us. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Let's get that real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you are more in number than any people. For ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he will keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So that encouragement that we're a holy people, we're set apart people that God chose, and he put us above all nations. That's letting you know, remember what he say. You're gonna go pro. This is what LeVar Ball said. He said, you're gonna grow pro and you're gonna be better than Jordan. What is Jordan known as? The GOAT, greatest of all time. When you tell a child that from a young age and you actually do the things necessary to get them to that level, oh, the sky is the limit. God is telling us right now in Deuteronomy 7 and 6, you're above all people. You're gonna go pro. You're gonna be the GOAT. And he's there to nurture us and give us all everything that we need. That's what God does, right? The Lord also, when you read Proverbs 4, Proverbs chapter 4, 1 through 11, right? He tells us not to lean on our own understanding. So if we're not leaning on our own understanding, who do we got to get the understanding from? We got to go to God to get it. We go to the Bible. He's there to give us all the answers. Any question that we got, he's there to give us the answers. He's there to guide us. That's that mentoring. That's that coaching. That's that grooming. That's what God does for us because he's our black father. All right? The Lord, and further in the video, he also talks about, because he starts talking about how he grew up in South Central, and his kids grew up in upper middle class. So Shannon Sharp starts saying, like, well, they say they're spoiled. And he said, no, I'm around my kids. I teach them what it was like to grow up in South Central so they don't have to experience it. He said his youngest son, LaMelo, he has a coach who grew up in Detroit. So what I'm getting at is LeVar Ball put his sons around people that were just like him, that would give them the proper life lessons that he needed to instill in them to help further their success. He didn't put them around people that would be detrimental to them. He put them around people that's going to help them grow. Even their prior business partner that they had was still there as kind of like a father figure when LeVar was around. He would give them advice, right? So the Lord puts people around us as well. When you read Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15, let's go to that. We got a few more scriptures and we're about to close out. I'll get some more commentary from the brothers and then we'll close out. But this is Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. So the Lord puts brothers in our lives that are according to the Most High's heart. What? According to the Bible. That's going to feed us with knowledge and understanding. That's what a good father does. Puts the right mentors around you. Puts the right people, the right connections around you to help you grow and further in this life. He don't leave us on an island by ourselves. We don't do that. We don't do that to our children. God don't do that to us. We as black fathers, Israelite fathers, we don't do that to our children. The media don't show that. The media don't want to show the greatness that LeVar Ball is doing with his sons. They want to diminish it. All right. And he also, what LeVar Ball said, he also said later in the video, he said, yeah, they have these things, but I teach them about hard work. I teach them about hard work and being successful, right? Going through whatever you got to go through to be successful. That's what us as fathers do. I heard Brother Ariel talk about it. I talked about it, right? About the lessons that my father gave me. He would do all things. He would teach me, hey, get in here, you're about to learn how to drive. You're going to learn how to back up this trailer. You're going to learn how to change this tire. You're going to learn how to dig a ditch. I don't want to do this. I want to go play basketball. These are life lessons. Don't hate hard work. God tells us the same thing when you read Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 7 and verse 15. And it's going to be the last scripture, and then I'll get some more commentary, and we'll close it out. Sirach, chapter 7 and verse 15. Hate not laborious work, neither husbandry, which the Most High hath ordained. So don't hate hard work. Don't hate husbandry, cultivating the earth, because God ordained that, right? The same thing LeVar Ball told his sons, the same thing God tells us. Don't hate to work hard. Be willing to work hard so that you can be successful. So, brothers, got any more last feedback, any last commentary? I thank you, brothers, for being on. Anaya, Ariel, Miguel, Carlos. I thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining. I love the feedback. It was excellent. What else y'all got for us before we close out?
Got nothing, Dick, but I want to say, hey, great class, great topic, definitely. So, a lot of good nuggets that I'll probably be starting to implement in my own household. So definitely. So all praises.
All praises again. Appreciate your feedback. It was a great discussion. Got any last words, brother Ariel?
No, I don't have any words. I'm just leaving you with this right here. My stepfather, we used to go race cars, uh, and back in Georgia, a little racetrack down, a little dragway down in Douglas, Georgia. His hands were real big, but he used to sit me inside the motor, inside the hood of the car, and I would start the bolts and the motors for him. He taught me a lot about doing mechanic work also. I learned a lot about fixing cars, fixing race cars with him. I learned a lot about how to repair cars also. He taught me a lot.
All praises. Hey, all praises. Hey, you sisters that, your husband can go out and change your tire. Your husband can go out and work on your car. The reason why he's able to do that is because he had a black father that taught him how to do so. So, we got to put some respect on the black fathers because black fathers matter. That's all I got. Again, I
That
appreciate
was
the
a bar.
feedback from everybody on Facebook, on YouTube. I loved this discussion. And we're going to start doing more discussions like this because it was very interactive. I feel like this is something that we in our community need to highlight. So I'm gonna leave a task out there to all the black fathers that's on Facebook. I want to see some pictures with you and your kids. I want to see, I want to see some black father, highlights out there. I want to see that. We can see all the folly and the wickedness, but I want to see some black fathers out there got their son down and learning how to change the tire. Sitting down having a conversation with his daughters. That's what I want to see on my Facebook. So that's the task I'm gonna put out there. Who gonna step up to the task? Because at the end of the day, when you do that, that's iron sharpening iron. Because somebody gonna see that and they're gonna be like, "Hey, that black father can do it. So can I." I love y'all, Israel. Tune in tomorrow. We got an excellent class. We're gonna talk about who are the Gentiles and there's salvation for them. That's myself, Deacon Shema. I'm going to go over it. So get your Bibles, get your pens, be ready because it's going to be informative. And it's gonna be something that you're gonna learn and build you up.
Hot topic.
Hot topic. All right, shalom, Israel. Look how my fire works as I follow my father's works. Make it to the kingdom, and it's gonna have a lot of perks. Our time on earth, our people feel a lot of hurt. Stuck in our sins, when we gon' realize that's not gonna work. The clock works, but the hourglass moves slow. Don't waste your time and watch your every move, bro. Go plant a seed and pray the Lord to make it grow. Get at that darkness and go and let your light show. You far from home, just follow the path of Chef Road. This life's a test, just make sure you do your best, bro. Invest in the kingdom and try to build your escrow. The eagle's watching, so go protect your nest, bro. The devil's lurking and he coming for your neck, so put on your armor and don't forget how your chest glow. The water's moving and I'm caught up in the current flow. Your life's confusing cause you caught up with these current hoes. Couldn't hear the first verse, cut the bass and up the treble. No longer bass, we excelling to a higher level. I hate to bust your bubble, but this level trouble doubles. Remove your pride and just remember to stay humble. Don't cry for spilt milk or how the cookie crumbles. Make sure to mop the flow so you don't slip or stumble. Don't let the stress you under stop your hunger. And you can't skip the line, wait for the Lord to call your number. Be patient cause your tribulations only make you stronger. Get stuck in folly, then we only have to wait here longer. The world is yours if you prepare to go and conquer. God wrote the script and for this act he get an Oscar. I turn the corner, I really hope that I ain't lost you. Think about your stubborn mind and everything it cost you. The Lord's spirit overflowing, make sure your sins washed up. And if we stick to unity, ain't nothing that can stop us.